Hello, Fightful Faithful. This is
Alex, I'm
the
gonna have to
NXT
interrupt you
show.
earlier than I usually do.
This is intolerable. Is what this is. I am without tolerance.
Um,
During Pride Month, I am without tolerance.
well, we love the LGBTQ community. That's not,
I tolerate the hell out of that. I love that. Just
yeah,
other things
more
that I
than
can't
tolerate.
tolerate. One of those things is Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels.
Before we went live, Alex said, "I might die during this one. Let's go." That's what those were the words that were said.
That's what I
right
said. I might die
before
during this one. Let's go.
we went on. This was a really bad episode of NXT from start to finish overall, which means it's going to be a really fun episode of Sour Grabs. Please help us today. We need your help more than ever on episodes like this that make no sense. So for just 70 cents a day, or for $5 or $2 or $10 and up, you can send in a super chat or a humper chat at humperchats.com. We also invite you to leave a thumbs up on this video. Lots to talk about, very little of it good, but please support us any way you can, including heading over to FightfulSelect.com and subscribing. Not a big scoops night, but I think there's going to be a lot coming down the pike from what we saw with the one thing of substance that happened with Cody Rhodes tonight. Seems like we might be inviting some more of that TNA crossover, so stick around for that. Tons of contract news happening all the time, seemingly. This is a big contract season. So go over to FightfulSelect.com and subscribe. You also get access to the Fightful Select Discord if you want to hang out with normal people, i.e. not on Twitter. And all the best scoops in the game, plus me and Alex being cranky about other brands, not just NXT, behind the old paywall. So join us there.
Yep.
This was bad. This was a bad episode of NXT.
This was a particularly atrocious, especially because, like, listen, you're gonna keep yelling it at me. They'll probably be saying this 3 weeks from now. Battleground was still trending at 11 a.m. the following morning, and so everyone's going to take credit for that. And you're gonna, like, if you're gonna capitalize on all of that, like, do some good stuff. Do some stuff that makes sense. I know the whole thing is that I'm always gonna hate the show, apparently, because they're never gonna do the things that I want them to do. But, like, I don't know how anyone could sit there, even if you like this show, and be like, this was a good episode of television. Like, I just don't. Especially with the context of where everything is coming from, and all, like, capitalize on some stuff. There wasn't, like, no Obafemi on the show tonight. Not mentioned once. His top two challengers from Saturday over Sunday, like, fought each other in a 6-man tag. He wasn't mentioned. Didn't appear. Wasn't mentioned. Like, I know that I hyperbolically, but only slightly hyperbolically, say that he's the greatest wrestler of all time. He's just the greatest wrestler currently. He's not better than Bryan Danielson. I still think Bryan Danielson probably figured out a way to tap him out in the S-Lock. But I mean, like, he's amazing. Please put him on TV more. But, like, he's also your North American champion. And, like, you have major people tweeting about how he's a huge deal. In the aftermath of Battleground, you don't feature him at all. You don't even mention him. Not a highlight package, not a vignette, like nothing. And then you build all episode to a State of the Union where a bunch of mid-carders come out to challenge Roxanne.
Mid-card heels.
Mid-card heels come out to challenge heel champion Roxanne. And you building all night to the main event segment. A lot of people could be forgiven for thinking you were going to do another major debut or crossover talent or something. But no, it's just no. And so to do all of that, and, like, the main event in ring, like, features one of your top up and coming stars, maybe the top up and coming star in all of wrestling, who you book a coach to go over. Because that's what Shawn Spears is in his career right now. He's the guy who's going to put over people in matches, but his major job is to, like, produce and coach, because that's where he is in his career, and you book that guy to go over one of your top young stars. Now, I know it's probably a longer feud, and I'm assuming Javon Evans wins the feud, but what are we doing any of this for? Why? And what is this in aid of? By the way, Cody Rhodes is invited to the Cookout, so everything's fine.
I don't know if we have to do a rest of the show. That was a pretty good summary on most of what was wrong with tonight's show. I mean, I don't expect Cody to say anything of substance when he comes to NXT anymore. My expectations are very low. But when he said, "I'm going to reveal who your next opponent is," and immediately said, "Actually, it's going to be whoever wins this 25-person battle royal," I was like, you didn't reveal who the opponent was, Cody. You revealed a match stipulation. Now, the big news out of that was he said it might not just be from the NXT locker room, which I assume means main roster people are going to come down, and more likely to, like, you're going to see some people from the TNA Impact brand come on over to this. But, like, I said, because you pointed out a very funny headline yesterday about, like, some people, it was a Cody headline where he was like, some people have assumed that the gift that The Rock gave to me was this, but we may never know. And it's like, he gave it to you, man. So I said, he comes across as Perd Hapley from Parks and Rec to me, who was the newscaster on that show, who would be like, we are recording a podcast right now on YouTube, which is where the podcast is being recorded. So just like so much fluff, and not to be whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, was Battleground still trending 11 o'clock the next day? Sure.
He did say...
Did Sexy Red also have a fight in the airport that got broken by TMZ?
But that was she was arrested the day before she did. I think she was at Newark Airport to fly to Vegas and got in a brawl, and then she was arrested.
Now, look, I have to fly out of Newark regularly, and I have been tempted to do far worse than what I saw from her in that video. But like, didn't that news break? That might have broken a day later, actually. I was gonna say, didn't that news break then? Weren't you trending because Sexy Red got in a fight at the airport and people were making Battleground jokes? But I think that was actually this morning, so not the next day. But either way, like, you're right. It felt like we had all this momentum coming out, even though you and I felt like the pay-per-view was weird. But there were certainly directions they could have picked to go, and we just got it is nonsensical, not in the way of like NXT is nonsensical and we don't like it, like nonsensical in the way that it made no sense. That sense was not made today on NXT. It was a really rough episode.
No, it was
really rough episode.
So, okay.
What do we even do for puns?
I mean, I don't know. People are maybe mask puns. People who wear masks. I don't know.
It feels like it's not going to get us a lot of money.
No, I don't know. No, listen, I honestly, I have no idea. Oh, here we go. Cookout puns. Picnic puns. Things you do at a barbecue. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Let's do cookout puns, because it was really important that we all at home know that Cody Rhodes is invited to the cookout.
Yes.
So because
that's a cool guy handshake.
Like he was about to leave the ring, and Trick called him back into the ring and said, "I got one more question for you. Do you like my weird platform shoes?" He didn't actually ask that one, but he did ask, "You coming to the cookout?" So it was so important that Trick had to call the man back into the ring to ask him this question. And if it's that important to Trick Williams and NXT, that I think is important to us to do cookout puns.
I think that's fair, and you guys are off to a great start. I'm already seeing them in the corner.
Okay. So, JW Pringle says, "Amazing Alex, Killer Kate, Papa Paul, Sisters, and Luis. What the actual F was this? What the actual F was this S? HBK out HBK'd himself. This wasn't even funny bad, just bad. Listen, he did this dumb friggin' meme that made me so angry. Him and Jordan Grace and Sexy Red, Sex YY Red. He was wearing a chef's hat, and he's like, NXT Battleground, 5 out of 5 stars meal. I'm like, just Jesus. Do not, I implore you, do not to go to any restaurant where he is the chef, because you will walk away with food poisoning. It might taste good while you're eating it, but by the end, oh, this is awful. That's basically
I
every
don't
match
know
he
if it
booked.
will. I don't know if it will, because you'll be like, this has an orange twist to it, but it's also a fried piece of paper. Like, I don't know what is going on the show. And if he were to cook something, I would be alarmed that he's not even using ingredients from the kitchen at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Tom Valley says Prince Puma is all elite. Ricky Starks NXT. Is that like a? Would that be fair? Yeah, I think so. That would. I mean, sure.
I kind of like am no about that, and here's why. AEW is not at a lack of incredible work rate, guys. And Ricky brings something so different than anybody else is doing on the product, especially if MJF is back to his whole heel
They're not
shtick.
using them though.
I don't. My preference would be that they are both on television. So.
I mean, yeah. And Bad Apple Jam Tree Beard. Oh, I get what he's doing. He's trolling me. I can't wait for the ZSJ OC marriage to happen at Forbidden Door, right, Kate?
Somebody went and dug up a tweet, I guess, that ZSJ said he wanted to marry Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy replied, "Get in line, babe," like 8 years ago.
Nice.
Now they're going to fight each other. Long-term storytelling. I'm looking forward. I love wrestling weddings. So like a ZSJ Orange Cassidy marriage at the end of Pride Month at Forbidden Door. I'm so in. So in.
Should be good. So Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says, I feel like Oba should win all the men's titles in WWE, both in NXT and main roster. Merge them into one true Oba title.
I am not normally an advocate for such things, but also the women's titles. Women's tag titles.
Well,
Oba Femi versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Sign me up. I'm in.
Yeah. He's going to have a tough time overcoming the passion of Ilyeta Dragunov.
It's true.
Who we booked last night is gonna. There's nobody else. There's nobody on Raw. There's no one on Raw who can come after Liv Morgan. So it's gonna have to be Ilyeta Dragunov. Just Dragunov in a wig.
It's Natalia, who won't be contracted for much longer that we know of. Raquel, if she was healthy, would be perfect, but I don't know what her status is, and I never want to speculate on that. And Zelina Vega. So if you thought Becky Lynch not being on television wasn't a big deal, that is what the women's babyface roster of Raw looks like right now.
That's good.
Not great.
Meet Norma says, "Hello, bruvs. Let's crank. Do we know if HBK had a recent head injury? His booking makes me think he may be concussed. Also, if there's no Oba Femi, then it's not for Meat." And then Meet Normus also says the XYY bread brawl was better than NXT.
I mean, she did use like a stanchion, didn't she?
Something like that.
I respect the hell out of that. That was amazing.
So I'm gonna combine two things. Okay. Into this segment. Something happened. Something was put on TV much later in the evening, but I'm gonna talk about that first. There was this wonderful vignette for Sol Ruka, where like she designed and made her own gear for the big North American title ladder match, and showed her working out in this really interesting, like just a window into who she is and where she comes from, like that whole do-it-yourself thing about her, and how emotional she gets when she goes and does this. And it was just like it was a minute and 44 seconds long. And it really showed
a surfboard in sight either.
There was no surfboard in there at all. Like most of the vignettes involved surfing. So I was watching this and I was going, this is excellent. This is how you let me know who your wrestlers are. I know something about her. I have a connection to her. I've watched this woman like make her own gear, and she explained to me why certain things were on it. She had these gold studs because, flashy for like Vegas and stuff. And I was like, that's perfectly great. And this was really cool. She wanted to make it look like she was wearing a swimsuit under like cut off jean shorts. Like, it's a really cool little idea for how everything put together. And you could see it actually, her putting the whole thing together and all that stuff. It was really nice. And in a minute and 44 seconds, I now know more about Sol Ruka than I know about Kalani Jordan, who's been on the roster for 2 years, a year and a half. And
it is
like
great. Like she's real good.
She's great. Yeah. She's great. I'm sure she's got wonderful things about herself that she could share with us. But you're not presenting her in any way that where I know anything about her. So while I'm watching this, I'm watching Sol Ruka's vignette, and I'm finding a connection to Sol Ruka the person. Plus, I know she's a lot of fun to watch in the ring. Now, I know Kalani Jordan is a lot of fun to watch in the ring, but I know nothing about her. So if you were asking me to pick one of the two for me to root for, I'm probably picking the one that I have actual connection with because you've shown me something about her. This is a dramatic failure of TV programming that you've decided in a year and a half to show me nothing about Kalani Jordan and a whole bunch of stuff just beyond. Like, there was a really cool vignette where she was talking about how she will try ridiculous things on a skateboard or a surfboard, and she'll fall and she'll bust her ass. She's like, whoop, made a mistake that time. Gonna try it again. And it was really endearing who this person was. They've done that a lot with Sol Ruka, none with Kalani Jordan. So I'm watching Kalani Jordan come out with the North American title to start the show and going, I don't know who you are. Like, yeah. I'm sure you're a lovely person, but they haven't shown me any of that. So now I'm like, so later in the show, when they show me Sol Ruka, I'm like, Sol Ruka should have been the North American champion. Simply because that's my immediate thing watching it, going, this is a person that you're showing me stuff about. I'm creating a connection with her right now, and the person who is the champion, I don't know anything about. That's not Kalani Jordan's fault, and I'm not saying she's a bad wrestler. I'm not saying she's a bad person. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying you, the programmers, HBK, and all your ilk, you're not showing me anything about it, so I have no connection to her. So I immediately want her to lose the title to Sol Ruka.
Alex, it would appear that when HBK was cooking, he left the ingredients of Kalani Jordan vignettes out of the recipe, and it's unfortunate. Yeah. This is story time with Kate Elizabeth Bebe, okay?
Yeah.
Back in the day, the home run derby for baseball had really stupid rules, and the rules would always make it so the person that had the showcase that everybody remembered was never the guy who ended up winning, because by the time they got to the final round, they were gassed because they hit like 20 bombs, 25 bombs, whatever, in the round before, and then they had nothing left in the tank. That is what it felt like when I saw the Sol Ruka stuff. She was like the standout in that ladder match, other than Michin, for like, if you're looking like smart wrestling fan eyes of like, she's the one trying to make sure nobody dies. But like Sol Ruka had the really cool spots, and now we have this vignette. It almost made it feel like they planned for her to win and then just changed their mind for some reason. Like,
really looks like that.
Yeah, like we got so much insight and access. And what was really nice, to your point, you said it was like a minute 45 or whatever. That kept it from feeling like, I was like, are we just going to get a documentary in all of NXT programming now? Yeah. Because during the PLE, we got this really weird takeover Brooklyn stuff, but that one was like brief, and it gave us insight into who Sol was. It wasn't gimmicky because it wasn't about just surfing. We know that about her, all right? Like, show me something else. We got something else. And Kalani Jordan, like, I think the one thing we do know about her is that she's a gymnast. And unfortunately, that's like 80% of the gals on the roster have been gymnasts or cheerleaders because they're not pulling from the indies. So it was kind of different when we saw it with Tiffany Stratton. But Tiffany Stratton also had we're out of the swear window, a batshit gimmick that they had to rein in because she was like a tennis player, gymnast, daddy's girl. We were like, what the hell is going on? And they pulled it back in. So they either give us nothing or they give us nothing that makes sense and is way too much. And they really got to find a better balance. It felt like they were starting to do that a little bit. And now, like, I hope that with Kalani Jordan's title reign, they let us know who she is a little bit more. Because I think she's really good in the ring. Incredible look to her. She's a beautiful young lady. And I think there is a charisma there that is naturally very magnetic. So tell me a single thing about who you are, and let's get her in a proper feud to express that, because I feel like most of what I saw her in was like tournaments or multi-woman matches, and I never really got to know who she was from like a one-on-one feud storytelling perspective. So please, if you're gonna strap her up, let's get to know Kalani Jordan a little bit.
Yeah. We don't in this segment either. She just says about how much it means to her to win the title, which like it would mean a lot to anybody who won the title, the first ever North American women's title. So that's not really an insight.
The best PR professor I ever had said you can't use proud, happy, or thrilled in a quote for a press release because we know that about if you're releasing an album, we know that you're excited to be doing it. Like if you're a champion, we kind of figured if you were in a ladder match for that title that you're excited to be champion.
Yeah. And then we don't get an actual insight into who she is in this thing either, because she's almost immediately interrupted by Jaida Parker. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Jaida Parker coming after the title. Like it felt like they, but here, hold on. This is what I thought at the moment, because I thought there's no way they could do something as stupid as what they're about to do. As nonsensical as what they're about to do. That thought never crossed my mind because it's utter nonsense. Okay? So I thought Jaida Parker was somebody they heavily built up in leading up to the ladder match, where they did none of that with Kalani Jordan. So it did feel like the analogy I used was the first ever UK championship tournament where Tyler Bate won it as the babyface to get a big reaction from the crowd in the arena, them knowing full well the real person they're going to strap up and let him run with it for a long time was going to be Pete Dunne. And that's what they did. So I thought maybe they wanted to have the big babyface reaction with Kalani Jordan. And then they were like, then we're going to give it to Jaida Parker to let her run with it for a while. But they had set up this thing with Mia Yim, Michin, and Jaida Parker, because they had this little rivalry last week and the weeks before. So let's get that all taken care of before I thought, because there's no reason for this not to be the truth, before Mia Yim, Michin moves back up to SmackDown permanently to do stuff. She's already got a match set up in Scotland this Friday with Nia Jax, where Nia Jax will squash her. Okay? That's the thing that's going to happen. So, instead, she have her come out, interrupt Jaida Parker, they start fighting. Then the match starts. Jaida Parker versus Michin, Mia Yim. And it's fine, and it's going well. And then, I liked this a lot more, the running butt to the face. That was actually done as a transitional move to knock kneeling Mia Yim out of the ring, where she fell down, and that was a cool little thing to do for Jaida Parker at that point. Much better than being used as a finisher. And then the Good Brothers are out there. Like, what are the freaking Good Brothers out here for? Like, they haven't been associated with Michin for a long time. They lost their title match, and now they get to go back to the main roster, which we've seen them now for the last couple of weeks hanging around AJ Styles again. AJ Styles is absolutely super mega heel on the main roster. Michin has been playing babyface in NXT, and she's definitely babyface versus Nia Jax on Friday. So so now they're doing double duty, playing babyfaces on NXT, referencing their heel friend they're referencing tonight, their heel friend who's on Fridays on SmackDown, who's going to have an I Quit match with Cody Rhodes. Like, none of this episode. None of this makes sense, but they come out there to support Michin, who, again, we haven't seen them together in months. And Michin, because of the support of the Good Brothers, like, gets into the ring and wins with an O'Connor roll. She pins her. She pins Jaida Parker. She wins. And then Jaida Parker, we see later, Jaida Parker and OTM are very mad about this. It feels like OTM is basically like, we're going to go, get a piece of the Good Brothers. And like, why are the Good Brothers here? They're doing other stuff on the main roster. If you're doing something on the main roster, you don't get to be on NXT. I am going to need, by the close of business tomorrow, certified. I want it CC'd to everybody in headquarters. I need an email in my inbox by the end of business tomorrow. Shawn Michaels, you have to tell me what the fuck is going on with main roster people in NXT, because I just can't take it anymore. You have to establish some rules that I can refer to see whether or not you're breaking them. Why are people who are actively doing important shit on the main roster also doing stuff in NXT? There's a whole bunch of fucking people on the main roster who aren't doing anything. Bring them to NXT. That would at least make sense.
And if they're going to be on both brands, can they be consistent about whether they're baby faces or heels?
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing.
It's so annoying. And then on top of that, like, they never explained. They made a very big deal out of splitting up the Good Brothers and AJ Styles, and then they just were back together because AJ retired.
They were just back together again. He slapped Carl Anderson in the face. Like in March, he slapped him in the face. He slapped him in the face. Carl Anderson doesn't seem like the kind of guy to be like, yeah, that's fine. We're good.
It's chill. And then was like, oh, were you going to retire, but then you didn't? We're cool again. Like, that's not how that works. Yeah, my biggest thing is I don't like the crossover from brand to brand, especially to your point. Odyssey Jones hasn't been on TV in like a year and a half.
He got drafted last year and hasn't been on TV since.
You brought Dijak up to do nothing. You brought Kiana James up to do nothing. You haven't done shit with Shinsuke Nakamura. There are all these teams and there are all these people doing nothing on the main roster that you could just have doing stuff at NXT. And not to continue to harp, but like, how many times are we going to see people get drafted to the main roster with nothing to do? Blair Davenport's not doing shit. Like, there's so many people that are not doing anything. And then, so that's frustration number one. And then on top of that, when you're a completely different person, but then other people aren't. Cody Rhodes was the roadiest guy that he could possibly be. Came down. It was the anniversary of his dad's passing. So they acknowledged that. He said he was going to reveal something and then revealed not that, which is just becoming a classic Cody playbook thing. So he's the most consistent dude in the world. And then Mia Yim is like, I'm a face down here. And the Good Brothers are like, we love that about you. But up there, we are not nice. And we are fine that AJ Styles has slapped us. Like, it is so mind-bogglingly inconsistent. And it's very frustrating as a viewer that watches all of the brands because it's wildly inconsistent. Yeah. So if you're trying to get more people to watch NXT, which clearly you are, like, a little bit of not insulting of the intelligence of those viewers would go a long way.
Like, the fact that they absolutely can bring people from the main roster to NXT and have them just be there for a long time. They did it with Apollo Crews. They did it with Baron Corbin. They're doing it now with Ridge Holland for some reason. Like,
Baron Corbin's one that got called up and isn't doing anything.
The Pretty Deadly got drafted to SmackDown, has not appeared on television since the draft. Pretty Deadly. People like it when my voice cracks. Pretty Deadly.
Nah, it's pretty funny.
Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says, I love this Lewis Black impression by Alex. I am the Lewis Black of wrestling media. So later, Mia Yim comes out of Ava's office and celebrates with the Good Brothers about how she has now been given a title match versus Kalani Jordan for the North American title, which will happen after this coming Friday, when she will be squashed by Nia Jax. Like, she's gonna get squashed by Nia Jax on Friday, and then after that, she gets a title match for the North American title. Like, you just need to be able to create delineation between these things. There's no reason for, like, I want to see Mia Yim on television.
Hell yeah.
There's no reason she's got to be doing double duty in things that conflict with each other. She wins a match versus Jaida Parker this week. And then on this Tuesday, and then on Friday, she's going to go to Scotland to get squashed by Nia Jax. And then after that, she gets a title match with Kalani Jordan that she was granted before the squashing. The Good Brothers lose their title match to the Blurry Boys, and they could just move up and they could be gone. We don't need to see them again. But they're here, and now they're going to feud with OTM, who are heel. Are they straight up baby faces in NXT, but heels on the main roster? Because I don't think that should be allowed. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm old school enough. I don't think that should be allowed. Like,
it's also confusing as a viewer. Like, it's not. I don't like it when you have people lose in NXT and then they go and win on the main roster. Like, that kind of stuff bugs me. But when you're just straight up a different person from brand to brand, that bugs me a lot more, because one of them, I'm like, okay, but you're serving different purposes in different places. I get that, right? I shouldn't have to, but I can forgo the kayfabe buy-in of how that consistency fails you. Like, I can do that. When you're just straight up a different person, I'm sorry, that's a bridge too far for me as a viewer of you, because your motivations as a character should be consistent. Yeah. So if you're just nice to these people and mean to these people, and you cheat here but you don't cheat there, like, it does not work from a psychology standpoint. And especially when it's Raw and NXT, because those are back-to-back nights. Yeah. So SmackDown, you at least have a couple of days of breather, but I'm like, I literally saw you 24 hours ago be a different human being is maddening to me. And I also think Ava is pretty heavily profiled, and I like that. I think authority figures should be. But if you're going to do that, there should be an in-story justification about why certain talent appear in places. If you're going to break the draft rules immediately, Ava should be able to say, we didn't get any draft picks, so that means I get X main roster people a month to challenge my best of the best talent, whatever. Like, there needs to be delineation there. Because I can accept certain things. I cannot like it, but still accept it if you have people floating in and out. But, like, just give me reasons for why this stuff is happening. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
Why is Chelsea Green getting a title shot on NXT when she's been smooshed on the main roster consistently? Like, those things are what get under my skin and what make Alex's voice crack.
Yeah. I don't understand why the Good Brothers are doing whatever it is they're doing in NXT. Like, people, it was reported. I don't know. Maybe they decided not to do it. But Tegan Nox is somebody who's doing nothing on the main roster. It was reported that they were considering her for a long run in NXT. Why is she not doing the Mia Yim stuff? And I'm not saying that they would then be a unit, but then you could bring down somebody like Pretty Deadly to do tag matches with the kids in NXT while the Good Brothers are doing stuff on the main roster. Like, if people who are on the main roster, okay, everybody line up against the wall. Have you been on TV at all in the last 3 weeks? Okay, anybody who has, leave the room. The rest of you, we have some ideas for what could be a role for you in NXT for the next couple of months. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But if you do, we have ideas for you. Like, honestly, there are people who I'm sure don't like that they're not on TV on Raw and SmackDown, and would absolutely take some time in Orlando working out with the kids, like learning, teaching them what they know, and doing TV storylines. Give these storylines to the people who aren't doing anything on the main roster.
That's something that I learned from Manny and Brennan's streams a lot, was they talked about, like, how maddening it was to, because they were always pitching ideas, and, like, none of them were getting rejected. Like, there are some people that if you said go down to NXT and you can do that idea on NXT, they would have loved to have done that. They would have jumped at the chance. So there are people whose ambitions would align with something like that. Shinsuke, you're doing literally nothing with. After all the cool vignettes and all of the high quality losses, though tons of them that he took, they've done nothing with him on SmackDown. Time to back down here.
If indeed the Battle Royal that Cody booked for us next week does yield a TNA crossover challenger, fine. It might actually not. It might just be a regular person from NXT who gets it. And if so, It shouldn't be. It should be Shinsuke Nakamura. It should be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Trick Williams. Like, he should be the guy. Like, do that instead.
Really cool, actually.
Because Trick Williams isn't losing the title the next time he defends it anyway. So, like, and Shinsuke Nakamura, as much as I hate it, he never wins any of his matches, but he would be a great person for somebody like Trick Williams to work with. So, like, do that. Here's the thing, like, Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says, one explanation could be that OC Michin will turn heel because they finally started to listen to AJ again, thus turning Jaida and OTM into faces. Brother, let me tell you who doesn't work as faces. OTM and Jada Parker. Jada Parker's amazing as a heel. She would not work as a babyface. Besides, they already have babyface OTM. It's Team Tai. It's the Bouncy Boys, the beefy Bouncy Boys. They're already the exact thing what babyface OTM would be. You can't run that. So, like, no, I'm sorry. That just wouldn't work.
Yeah, and today was... Jada Parker has, like, a ton of charisma, and I feel like she's someone, even though we haven't gotten a lot of vignettes, we do know who she is because of who she is in the ring. This match was not great tonight, unfortunately, with her and Mia Yim. I felt like there was a lot of it that just looked very mechanical. Just seemed like a chemistry thing. Like, that happens sometimes. But I was kind of bummed because I was like, well, this is weird as hell, but, like, these two can both go. I've seen it, but just, like, kind of disjointed, kind of sloppy.
Jada Pringle says Alex is going to burst a blood vessel. I'm fully in control. I am the meme of Conan O'Brien eating hot wings. I'm fine, okay? I am perfectly fucking fine.
Look, we've seen what Alex reining himself in looks like, and it's not pretty. I never want to see it again. It was very alarming.
No, it's fine. Albert Ponce pointed it out on the chat. Where are the Yas Boys? Where's Cedric? Where are Dem Loafs? Apollo Crews got his match pulled on Friday. Bring those people in. Bring the people in who aren't doing anything on the main roster, please.
Like, I'm more continually perplexed by Odyssey Jones, unless something is very wrong. Like, I always want to leave room for. I don't think he's injured because he hasn't been in action in over a year. But, like, people have health conditions that are beyond that. People have mental health things. So I always want to leave room for that. That sometimes people aren't TV for reasons that are none of our fucking business.
Yes.
But assuming he's healthy and cleared to go and wants to be a wrestler, are you kidding? Him versus Trick Williams? Him versus Oba Femi? Like, what aren't we doing with Odyssey Jones, man? Like,
I keep saying he got I think he got after the wrong brand for this, but I keep saying, like, that's a dude who should be walking around behind Carmelo Hayes.
100%.
Like,
100%.
They're a perfect duo. Like, it's a perfect thing.
It's
the guy who cannot stop running his mouth and a big dude to shut all those doors when anybody tries to get in his way. That's it, man. But anyway, Ellen Hess letting us know that they gave up on Shinsuke when Okada was signed to AEW. It did feel like, and I'm not sure if it's because of that, but it's around the same time. It was just like, I don't know why we decided to do it at the same time. We've seen that with
other people that got drafted, and it also felt like they decided Shinsuke wasn't going to be in King of the Ring, and then they haven't figured out a way to get him on TV since.
Yep.
And part of it, I think, is just that these PLE cycles are so quick. But like you mentioned yesterday, like, Bronson Reed was a mid-card title threat and now is on main event. Like, they just don't have a lot of follow-up with some stuff, and it's not great.
Yeah. Alan Hess didn't realize how many people have been missing. Yeah. There's just a whole bunch of people who got drafted in the draft, and, like, it's just weird.
It's actually sneaky.
Yeah. So all the men in Chase U, all four of them, because that's the only people who are in this fucking college. They're all talking over each other very loudly, and Thea Hale comes in and says, "Everyone shut the fuck up and sit down."
This is the most I ever liked Thea Hale in my whole life.
It doesn't make any fucking, like, I won't tolerate it, because, like, it's the dumbest thing ever. Why does any of this have to do with a college? Like in what way? How? What? Why is Rich Holland's not a student? None of this makes any fucking sense. Like it's just a thing. Like out of context, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In context, it makes zero sense. Why the college? I mean, whatever. She proceeds to dress down everybody but Ridge Holland, which is so weird because Ridge Holland a few weeks ago was like, "Oh, you remind me of my little girl when you smile," and I just all that would just put me off entirely to all of this. And again, I don't know what was settled here. She yelled at them. None of them said like, "I'm sorry." Nobody was changed, and then she walked away. Like all she did was get them to stop yelling at each other. That's it. Like, not minds weren't changed. She was like, you know, if they were changed, fine, but you got to give us more of an actual depiction of that on screen than stunned silence. Like, hey, Riley Osborne, you can't. What are you mad at him for? Because he's an outsider. But guess who was an outsider too? You. And he sits there, and his expression doesn't change. Now, maybe he's taking it all in and thinking about it, but you know what makes for really bad TV? Someone silently sitting there, taking it all in and processing it emotionally without making a change in your face. Like, I don't know what any of this does, helps, and I have no idea what on earth the actual end they are progressing toward could be.
They don't know.
With these people.
They don't know either. And the reason I feel that way is, and you and I have been split at points on Chase U. I've warmed up to it in points where they've made sense in the ring. You've always been like, a university shouldn't be wrestling, which is extremely fair take. I will buy into your silly shit if you make it translate to the ring. But I will say, whether or not you and I have liked it, this has been one of the most over acts consistently that they had on NXT, and they weren't anywhere close to being booked for the PLE, and that is an indicator of their own. They've damned themselves, and like they had one of the most over acts in the promotion, and just they had nothing for any of them. Right. They had nothing for any of them. So like Thea Hale not being in the ladder match was weird. Like there was nothing that made sense or worked.
Like because Thea Hale is so busy babysitting these grown men and helping them deal with their issues, she's not a person who walks out at the end to confront Roxanne Perez. She isn't going to have agency of her own because she's got to sit here and be like, all of you boys need to work it out. You know what I mean? And I mean, I don't think that
it also is like, this is happening on AEW and this is happening in WWE a lot. What has changed from the week before about what has been built upon from the week before? Because this just has been, if OTM is out the mud, this has been in the mud for a really long time at this point. And like Rich Holland's not getting anything out of it, probably because he was shoehorned into it in a way that made no sense. Shawn Spears was like in charge of him and then was like, we need to add people. JK, I'm going to go beat Javon Evans for no reason today. Like just very, very disjointed. Very, very disjointed. And also Duke Hudson is amazing. Why isn't he wrestling all the time?
She brought up the Duke Hudson thing, which is that everyone
trophy pervert.
Everyone expected you to stab Andre Chase in the back, and you didn't do it. And you know why? Because we gave you a chance. We believed in you, and you showed that who you really were. And I was like, yeah, I do remember everyone expecting him to do that. You know why? Because it would have made fucking sense. He was a heel who showed up and was being all skeevy and was like looking around and obviously trying to usurp or do something. And the only reason you go against the expectation of all the audience is because you have something else for him to do specifically, and they don't. So when he didn't turn on Andre Chase or try to usurp his authority when Andre Chase was off dealing with an injury, Instead, all he is a guy carrying around a trophy that he won 18 months ago. Like it's
and a meaningless one. It doesn't carry a title shot with it. It doesn't care. It's not like the Heritage Cup, right?
No, it's not like
free
that.
duck. Free duck.
Duck,
I don't get it because he is so good in the ring and he's a good looking dude and he's charismatic as hell and anything he's been given has had sincerity. The hair match stuff with Cameron Grimes, speaking of people that they missed the boat on. His timing with the comedic stuff is never the issue. It's just not well written for the most part. So like I will forever root for that guy.
Yeah, I would like
really good, and I want to see him wrestle.
I would like very much for him to break away from this nonsensical storyline that's been nonsensical since the first day they introduced Andre Chase.
Well, and there was a point where it looked like it was going to be sensical because it looked like he was in cahoots with the D'Angelo family, and then they screwed that all up and made a weird calendar. Like it's just so it's such a waste. And again, we haven't liked it, but it was incredibly over. And then now there's nothing for any of them to do. Like that's their own failure. Like we want what's better for them because we think their ceilings are higher than what they're given. But this was over, and now nobody cares. Like because they didn't follow up on it. They didn't follow up on it at all, which sucks.
So after the match, the North American title match at Battleground, Gallus, all three of them ganged up on Wesley, and people, including our own Sean Ross Sapp, were like, this is what an awesome thing that they're going to bring the Rascals back together for one night only to deal with this. And instead it was like Wesley got his old buddy Tyler Bate and Tyler Bate's tag partner currently Pete Dunne. And these are guys who also don't like Gallus, but also like you could have brought the Rascals back together and you did Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, who are having matches on main event on the main roster. So like they're not like they're a prominent thing.
Because
you know what I mean?
Awesome Truth is the tag champion.
So this was a fine little 6-man tag, but then you just had Joe Coffey pin Wesley clean. Like Joe Coffey. I'm so okay. We don't know anything about this, I guess, because Obafemi's not around, and they may have a completely new new direction for him to go with the North American title. But it sure seems like there was a triple threat, and the two losers, the two challengers who didn't beat the champion, fought each other in a 6-man tag, and one of the two challengers pinned the other challenger. Like, if you look at that scenario and you don't know any other context, doesn't it feel like the challenger who pinned the other challenger gets a one-on-one title shot?
Yes.
And like, is anybody interested in that? Like, I like Joe Coffey, but like, I thought when Wesley came back, I'm getting that North American title back. Like, are we really not going to do a one-on-one with him and Obafemi at any point? I mean, I don't. Maybe that's not where they're going again, but it really feels like this was the opportunity for Wesley to be like, okay, now I'm done with Gallus. I'm coming for you, big man, and there's going to be nobody else who's going to get in the way. It's going to be you and me, and I know I can beat you. And Obafemi can laugh at him, and then Obafemi can come this close to losing his title at Heatwave, but that'll be Wesley's big moment, and then he can move on to something else. Now we're just like dragging this out because, I mean, here's a little secret. I don't know if everybody knows this. Joe Coffey is no way beating Obafemi. There's not a chance in hell. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, like I just don't know.
Gosh, that is almost obnoxiously predictable how triple threats go. That's why we're like, oh, it's a triple threat, and then you do the triple threat math, and this is who will face whoever. Like it's boringly predictable. My only guess is that maybe they want to put Wesley off for a bit. Like they might not want to have him lose again that quickly, because I don't think this title is going off of Obafemi anytime soon. So maybe they don't want to have him just kind of like keep taking L's. Wesley, considering what his injury was and how he was out, looks awesome in the ring. It's ridiculous.
He does. But Kate, listen, I want you to listen to yourself. They don't want Wesley to lose to Obafemi, so they're going to book him to lose to Joe Coffey in a match that's not for the title.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like that's not your fault. You're trying to figure out
What the hell is going on?
weird friggin' thing must be going on in HBK's head that he could do
Well,
this.
Here's the other piece of this. I'm wondering if they're gonna do I had the wrong friends in my corner, and then MSK is gonna show up next week because I'm guessing the Battle Royal is gonna yield a bunch of TNA talent. But then A, just don't do this, and B, how many trios of nonsensical people are we gonna get on WWE programming?
Right. Yeah,
I have no idea. Kevin Owens and the Street Profits made no sense. And then what did we get on Raw? It was who was it with? Oh, it was the TikTok tag team.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Like it's so weird. Like these trios of just like, well, you're also good guys and you're a good person. So Autumn, you clearly
I mean, like
now.
I mean, honestly, it's the 11th of June, and Heatwave is like I think the 8th of July. So if you told me that Eddy Thorpe is getting a title shot against Obafemi by the 8th of July after tonight, I would believe it. And if that's the case and they're going to do something else entirely with Wes Lee, maybe by Heatwave you have Wes Lee and the rest of the Rascals back together versus Gallus in a 6-man tag, and Wes Lee gets the pin there. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what you do. But I'm trying to figure out, I don't understand why any of this involved Joe Coffey pinning Wes Lee. Like, I don't understand, you know? Like,
why did Wes Lee take the pinfall too?
I don't
know.
Weird. Louise says if Wes is feuding with Gallus from now to Heatwave, the match should 100% be the Rascals versus Gallus at Heatwave. Yes, that could be it. I don't know. Again, Obafemi not on the show tonight, which is a grievous error. He should be on every show.
So this is the other problem with this episode. Like the things that were presented to us weren't great, but like Obafemi should be an hour and 40 minutes of every episode. So, and then the remaining part should be Tony D and the family.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand this because I'm not sure if you're talking about is it the video game or the show about the video game? Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says Dunn and Bate must be Fallout fans because they are NCR, and I don't know anything what that is. So
I don't know anything about video games.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my God, samesies.
Indeed.
The only game I know is Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's because I've watched Alex play it. Yeah. I watched that man spend a half hour tracking down a pocket watch or a pocket mirror. It was a mirror, I think.
Here's the other thing. Like we'll talk about that in a second. The Heritage Cup. So like, so the Siler Bate and Pete Dunne are backstage with Nathan Frazier and Axiom looking at footage of them beating the Good Brothers, and Tyler Bates like, "Oh, right, good job. That was a good move there. I'm so proud of you." And Pete Dunne standing in the background like, he doesn't like any of this.
He was sour.
He was sour.
He did not look that far off of this. Just less angry and a little sadder.
Okay. Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says NCR is a faction in the games. Awesome. I haven't played them, so I don't know. But there you go. They are NCR. They are New Catch Republic. So Tony D comes in with Stax carrying the cup around for him, which I did think was
so
funny.
Great.
It's like, hey, I heard you. I saw your name on this. Let me give you a history lesson on the heritage of this here cup. I'm like, you think we don't know about the history of British wrestling? Then Nathan Frazier just staring at it. So we're gonna get Nathan Frazier versus Tony D for the Heritage Cup, which is going to lead to the Blurry Boys breaking up for some reason. Because he's like, what? Like, hey, we're the tag team champions. It's like, oh, what? You think I can't do double duty? I could defend the Heritage Cup and the tag titles at the same time. Which, like, that's the beginning of the end of that. You know what I mean? Like, when you have him say that before he even becomes the Heritage Cup champion, there's zero chance that either, if he ever actually becomes Heritage Cup champion, there's no way he can also defend the tag titles along with that, so he would lose one or the other. Hopefully he doesn't actually beat Tony D, because I think we've just scratching the surface on Tony D as Italian Heritage champion. So
I think that might end up being the return of A-Kid. if they split up. I would hope, because it's
I guess so. Yeah.
Axiom is incredible in the ring, but like A-Kid as a character would be better. The other reason I know that they're going to split up is because they're a tag team in NXT. So if they make it more than 3 days or whatever,
anywhere under the WWE umbrella, they're splitting up at some point.
This is when I talk to my sister about wrestling, because she doesn't watch, but I make her talk to me about it. That's like her thing of like, oh, well, they're going to break up as a tag. She learned that was a possibility, and she runs it into the ground now. And she's right, probably like 60-40, which is so annoying.
I'm fine with Axiom and Nathan Frazier breaking up if A-Kid comes back, as long as Axiom is still around in scenes that don't feature A-Kid. Because I desperately need them to do a thing where nobody knows they're the same guy. Like that is my brand of dumb wrestling comedy, where the mask, because it actually does cover his whole face, and you really can't understand what he is saying. Does he have any identifiable tattoos on his torso? I don't know.
Not that are exposed, I don't think, no.
Because that's an awesome thing for A-Kid
to want A-Kid to come back and want to be a tag team with Axiom.
No, I want A-Kid to somehow get booked in a match against Axiom.
And the coward just never showed up.
The coward never even showed.
I love that. Alex, you know what? With these tag teams, if I was putting money down, Axiom Clark Kenting would be hilarious. It would. If I had to put money down, if I was looking to bet a line on whether or not they were going to break up, I would bet in favor that they would break up. But I would want to be able to place my bets at the most like early opening betting online availability that was possible. I would want to be educated about those decisions. I would want them to tell me their thoughts in the odds. My goodness, if we can't tell you about the best place to do that, I don't know who can. Maybe Sean Ross Sapp could.
By now, you guys know how much I love Bet Online. Every betting odds that we have ever had on Fightful, whether it be MMA, boxing, pro wrestling, come from Bet Online AG. We've given you guys a ton of great underdog picks, but you know what? They got so much more to offer at Bet Online AG. The earliest lines, the fastest payouts, the industry's best bonuses at Bet Online AG. They've been trusted for over 25 years by millions of people because of their safe and secure environment, their high credit card acceptance, and their payouts in minutes. But it doesn't end there. Baseball, basketball, fighting, soccer, or football, whatever you want to call it, Bet Online has you covered. Not just that, incredible games. Blackjack, roulette, Golden Dragon, Inferno. Bet Online has it all for you. Your one-stop shop, and this is not a fly-by-night operation. They've been around for 25 plus years, giving you the goods. Go make yourself some money. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can.
There we go.
Nailed it.
That's good.
Hey, if you're winning all that money,
we
would urge you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com.
Right.
My goodness. Chad Gable updates, Becky Lynch updates, news of other people's contracts being expired or on the brink of it. Dijak, Natalia, Shane Haste, personal favorites. I would say also can pop ass with the best of them. I think he taught Sexy Red a lot of what she knows, but his contract running out at the end of the month. So many scoops over there and more. That's $5 in the game.
Yeah. Should definitely do that. Brindley Reese is doesn't watch the product.
No.
She does. She was like, I'm having a match with Wendy Choo tonight. She's so nice. Everyone loves her. I'm so honored to be the person who she's having her match with. But like, if she had come out the way we was tonight, and they didn't do the little reveal of the eye makeup and the last vignette that they played on the show, and then also twice at Battleground, like, then maybe you could be forgiven for not realizing what she was getting into. but they definitely told us that this was going to happen, and she doesn't know. But Malik Blade and Edison O'Fay seem to know, but they're not going to tell her. So, like, she's great. She's actually, listen, I'm just going to say it to me. She's a far more palatable Thea Hale because she runs at a 7 and Thea Hale runs at a 12. You know what I mean? Like, she's just at the level where it's believably over the top, but not crazy where I can't with you. You know what I mean? She's up all the time, but not that up.
I think we also see more of Brindley Reese being normal.
Yeah.
Like, Thea Hale is pretty much always in a state of panic about something. Yeah. And she plays it the way she plays it, and that's fine. But Brindley Reese has more just ups and downs about her. Right. So we just get to see more of that. Because I've really liked when we've gotten sincere notes of Thea Hale. They're just so few and far between.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, for all of you Dragon Chew enthusiasts, I think I was right about not wanting this to be a thing.
Well, so she's not Dragon Chew. That's why, because it's not what I wanted.
You booked something else, and
I booked something else. This is not Dragon Chew. This is Joker Chew. She said this. I saw somebody describe it as like she was this weird, possessed Raggedy Ann doll, and that's what it feels like more than anything else. She doesn't speak. She doesn't actually have human facial expressions. She doesn't make a noise, as far as I could tell. But she's gone from girl who sleeps a lot to sleep paralysis demon, and it's creepy. I don't know what we do with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's spooky. Here's what I would like to know. You want to talk about? I need a vignette. The joke. Where's the vignette? I need a vignette. I need a vignette because the last time we saw her, she wasn't like this. So I just want to know what happened. I just want to know what happened. Why she's like this? Because I am fully able to accept. I am willing to accept seeing somebody transition to being crazy on screen, watching the transformation from regular person who just likes a nap into, a demon of the netherworld. I'm willing to watch the transformation happen over the course of several weeks, several months, whatever. We didn't see the transition, so watching her now is I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for it because this was not Dragon Chew. This was not what we got was Abaddon with narcolepsy. And I wasn't prepared for it at all. Like, this was a fun little thing that we did, but like her like Brindley slapping her because she didn't know what else to do, and her head rocking back. Like, that was really, really effective. But like, but
what happened?
But like, what happened? Why is she this now? I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, it's one thing if like she came back and it was an entirely different person who was a dark, creepy thing. But this is absolutely a demon from hell possessed Wendy Choo. And I didn't see that. Like, you know what this is? This feels like I watched part 1 of a trilogy, missed part 2, and always meant to see it, but didn't. And then my friend says, come on, we're going to see part 3 in the theater. And I'm watching the whole time going, I have no idea why this person is like this now. Because I missed the middle part. But everybody missed the whole middle part because you didn't put it on TV.
Because it doesn't exist. What's funny about the vignette thing is we got an exhaustive amount of vignettes that were very short and cool production, but it was like we saw her wake up, we saw her get out of bed, we saw her go to the mirror, but none of them told what happened to us. Maybe that's something that's going to get revealed to us,
right?
But Wendy Choo, Karen Q, Dragon Lady, whatever you want to call her,
Right.
She has the blessing and the curse of being really fucking good at whatever they give her. And because of that, they throw sometimes, well, almost exclusively, things that are very high risk at her. And she delivers them very well. But because they're high risk,
she killed it, by the way.
Yeah.
She's absolutely playing this part perfectly. I just don't know why she is this now.
No, and they could do some really cool like Tarantinoing of it. Like there might be something that happens in match that reveals why she got this way or whatever. It's jarring now. But she can be girl who falls asleep on top of lockers. She can be 5,000-year-old dragon lady. She can be haunted Raggedy Ann doll, whatever. She's incredible. She's really, really incredible. She's so good in the ring too. Like I love the way that she beat Brindley Reese. Credit to Brindley Reese too. I thought she did a good job playing counter to a very weird thing.
Yeah.
It almost feels like, and this is hard because you have to get so specific. But when Malachi Black or Aleister Black defined his character as the devil with amnesia, so like he couldn't remember what he had done to make himself so evil, but he knew he is.
Yeah.
That's one of the most badass things I've ever heard. But that's like very specific and methodical and planned out.
Yeah, sure.
So if this is in line with that, where we're going to get this incredible story that's like revealed to us, I hope there's a very strong plan. And I think it could be cool if they follow through with it, that she beats Kalani Jordan for that North American title. Because I feel like Kalani Jordan could probably play that like in peril, vulnerable babyface thing very well, just based off of what we've seen of her so far. So I am a little oversaturated on the spooky stuff because it's not my favorite anyway. I don't want her going after a title to fall too far in line with what Tatum Paxley is. And I know we're about to get the Wyatt Six stuff, so it's just not my thing. And there's a lot. There's a lot of it.
Like Tatum is a disturbed young girl who's fixated on a title belt.
Yes. Obsessed.
This Wendy Choo is a completely different thing entirely. I believe Tatum Paxley is from this plane of existence. Nothing tonight that Wendy Choo did makes me believe that she's not a demon. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like there's a different kind of creepy. Like there's creepy and like you're not all there. You're weird and creepy and you wear black or whatever. And then there's whatever this was. You know what I mean? Like the gates of hell opened and out walked this.
My concern with the Tatum Paxley stuff is we had that incredible vignette, and I don't feel like they followed through on the kind of creepy but almost Ciampa Goldie-like character that we were promised in a way. Yeah. So I just don't want them to fall into the same track because they don't follow through on it. Right now they're different, but there's just a lot of black lipstick on my TV. It's all.
Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says Wendy Choo was possessed by a deadite from the Evil Dead movie series. That looks more like what this is than actual anything else I could say. Will Chisholm says, let's get it up to Wendy for keeping her eyes like this for that for the whole match. Yes. Like she was doing amazing character work throughout this whole match. Fantastic stuff. And was not, and she didn't need to do it with like I'm not taking anything away from Abaddon. But like, there's a difference between doing it with full entire hair, makeup, face paint, contacts, and everything, which does help. And this, which is just weird stitches being painted on your face and some eye makeup. That's it. Like there's a lot of stuff to do with that. So I think that there's a possibility that this could work out really great, but right now I need more context. But I think
I just don't trust them.
I think Cyclo's giving it to us though. Wendy got murdered by Blair Davenport in the NXT parking lot. Her body was buried in the parking lot under the old schism tree, and this is her cursed soul. Now, if they showed me that, I honestly would be like, you know what? That tracks. I mean, that makes sense.
I feel like NXT is not a very good show. And NXT Wikipedia is something I'd be extremely interested in, though. Yeah. I gotta say.
Will Chisholm saying, I want this Wendy to pop up in TNA and hang out with the crazy girls and be like, they get me. Just add her to the faction with Rosemary. Honestly, it's just perfect. Like, if you actually do a full-on talent exchange program, just let her go over there and do something with Rosemary for a while. They'd be awesome together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
But Alan Hess asks, how does Wendy work on Triple H's main roster? Well, like, how does Karen Q work? Perfectly. Any way they want her to. She's great. Like, if they want her to do this on the main roster, that's the other thing. The only what I have a feeling that this Wyatt 6 thing is going to get over like gangbusters.
Yes.
With the people who love spooky stuff, they're going to love it. They're a big faction, everybody clearly identified. As long as they don't push them toward the wrong part of the card immediately, I think it could be really cool. But the thing of it is, then, that's your only spooky act. You cannot have competing spooky acts that they inhabit the spooky corner of the roster. That's it. Nobody else. So if you call her up, it's got to be directly into the Wyatt 6. Make it the Wyatt 7 as soon as she gets there, because there's nothing else for her to do if she's this character. You could make her something else.
You could have her get called back to normalcy, like in a
you could
in a thing.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah. Luis says, now apparently Havoc kayfabe died for some reason, and now Rosemary is doing her own spooky thing. I cover the show weekly, and I have no fucking idea what is going on. So, Tim McFall says, tonight's show sucked, but Dragon Chew didn't. Kate, you need to get on board. She's going to bulldoze those blonde lookalikes. Now, she's backstage. She had a match with Brindley Reese, and then backstage, Carly Bright tried to introduce herself. Like, Carly Bright was not watching the show tonight? Because she's like, oh, Wendy, hi, it's so good to meet you. And Wendy obviously is the person from the match. And Carly's like, oh, hello? Like, were you not watching earlier? Because... I mean, so basically, it's just going to be Wendy Choo just destroying all these blonde chicks in the route, and which is fine. It'll work out.
I did have a moment where I was thinking about, first of all, unless we see that a wrestler has been watching and they're watching like this, they haven't been watching the show, as far as I'm concerned.
Fair enough.
I did have a moment where I wasn't the biggest Kelly gal because I started watching in 2009. But my favorite thing that they did with Kelly was when Karma like just came into the picture and she destroyed her, and Kelly literally cowering in the corner at the turnbuckles, being like, what the hell has just come to the women's roster, was like the most entertaining that I found Kelly in her run. Yep. And I think they have an opportunity to do something similar with Carly Bright here. She is as Elle Woods as shit gets. Like she is this baby-faced blonde cheerleader, whatever, as something can get. And Wendy Choo just not being human with it, and just, sorry, Carly Bright, beating the ever-living dog shit out of her, could make it feel like this force has arrived and we don't know what to do with it. They're going to have a field day with this at Halloween Havoc and probably the Chucky series at some point.
Yeah, probably. Will Chisholm saying the Triple H did make Wendy a 5,000-year-old dragon lady, LOL. So like he does have some ideas for what he wants to do. Well, Mandy Carvalho says Carly Bright's reason to get into WWE was Kelly, so it's a great idea.
A lot of that tracks, and it is a great idea. Thank you. I'm very smart.
That is the saddest thing since Cameron's answer of the best wrestling match she's ever seen.
I hate being mean about the Divas era because it was like, hi, you're untrained and you have 2 minutes. Go get yourself over. Like, those women were put in a no-win position. Yeah. But when we see what women's wrestling can be and what was being presented to us at that time, like finding inspiration in that stuff, when you've had Bayley and Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, is crazy to me.
Will Chisholm says Wendy the Blonde Chick Killer. That sounds like a good movie. Sorry, Kate.
Well, I'm a leggy blonde onion, so I can be the one that got away.
There you go. Good. Byron Saxon interviewed Roxanne. Roxanne says, "You don't need to know. I'm going to do my State of the Union thing, and I promise it's going to be amazing." And it wasn't. So Trick Williams is supposed to come out, and that's when Cody Rhodes comes out to like steal the thunder of the champ, and then he, it's the anniversary of his dad's death. It's sad. Yes. So he's there. It's just Cody Rhodes on his. He cuts a friggin' promo about AJ Styles. You know what I mean? On NXT.
Well, because what is he doing there? Like, in his defense, like, why is he there?
The whole reason he came was to give JC Jane his old mask, which we're going to get to in a second.
What was so weird was the Good Brothers were here, and he talked a bunch of shit about AJ Styles, and I kept waiting for them to come out and just.
So anyway, he does get interrupted by Trick. And Trick is wearing these crazy 1976 disco platforms that I just have never seen him wear. It was I literally spent the most of the first minute he was on screen going, "What are those?" over and over again.
No, Alex, I don't want to say that you're not in the spirit of things, but you won't pop ass. You won't wear cool platforms. What are we doing here? I did appreciate that you said you would leave that to the professionals, and maybe it's the same thing with the platforms.
Honestly, it's true. Trick Williams says, "You and I have similar journeys." And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Not at all. There's no way. Just because you're a babyface who finally won a title doesn't make you have similar journeys. You know what I mean? And then
Cody went and started a different company.
You and I, we are not so different, you and I. Oh, no, wait. I thought about it for a second, and we're totally dissimilar. We're not at all the same. We are very different people, you and I. So Cody says, "I have been authorized by Ava to tell you that that your new challenger will," actually, what he says first is like, there's always another mountain to climb, he says, with his own thing, like Trick Williams is not coming for that title while you hold it. No. Not while you hold it, Cody. Please tell me you're going to lose that before Trick is on the main roster and in a position to come after it. Please, please, please. You have to lose that title soon, Cody. Please, please. And then, but he does say your next challenger will be determined in a 25-man battle royal next week. And there might be some people you'll recognize, and some people will be from different locker rooms. And I think Akil in the chat said that the people from different locker rooms will just be Raw and SmackDown.
Thought about that.
It'll just be Raw and SmackDown. It won't be anybody from TNA. It won't be anybody from TNA at all.
Well, that's not what he said, Alex. What he said was that he was going to reveal his opponent. Then what he did say was that it'll be whoever wins a 25-man battle royal.
Yeah.
So, no, you didn't.
Right.
Cody, you're a big liar. But not as big of a liar as Trick, who was like, "We've had such similar journeys that I audibly said, come on, because no, they haven't." He just basically said, "We're both champions that overcame adversity," which is every single baby face ever. I was like, no, you were not, Trick, you weren't a part of the Bullet Club. Like, don't just lie. I understand the desire to connect with someone and have a common ground with them, but that ain't it. I did appreciate that he asked him for advice, because that was like the only thing that felt cohesive in this whole segment. But yes, a tale of two different fashions. Cody in his suit, Trick in his platforms. Again, they are not on similar paths. In fact, Cody was never an NXT champion, so they were really not even close.
No, not at all.
But crowd loves Cody.
There's talking about here's what they did say. We're having similar journeys that we both been hunting for the title so long. Now we're the hunted, and it's different. And I'm like, the similar part is that nobody in WWE knows how to book either one of you. They can't. They can book a babyface chasing a heel champion pretty well. Honestly, they can do that all right. But they have no clue what to do with a babyface champion once they become champ.
Still.
As evidenced by both of these guys booking currently. So,
and
you know
truly,
what I mean?
like, hate to say it, but even Bailey, like, hers is a little bit better, but it's not like they don't think beyond the moment that they book for winning these. Yeah. And that becomes a problem. But
anyway, so there's a 25-man battle royal. And a battle royal in WWE always starts with all of the people in the ring at the same time. So unless it's going to be like a Royal Rumble style battle royal, there's going to be no surprises. You know what I mean? Everyone's going to be in the ring at the same time at a giant mass of man meat. Just so no one's going to be able to see anything. So there's going to be like, we start out with these two guys and then another guy comes in. And there's never going to be more than, let's say, 8 dudes in the ring at one time in the Royal Rumble. We actually get to see the surprises. They're going to have people face off. You know what I mean? Like, a dream match scenario between this guy in TNA and a guy in NXT. Like, that's not going to be, they might just amend it by next week and say it's going to be fought under Royal Rumble rules to make the actual surprises seem fun. But other than that, like, it's not going to be a big pop with somebody, you know what I mean? So
they've gotta. But the other thing is with these Royal Rumble style matches, everybody's themes that suck are going to get super exposed. Yeah. But like, you can't have, if Joe Hendry's in there, you can't not have his thing play. Like, that would be a huge mistake. And they should just, the first 40 minutes of next week's show should just be that. Just do that.
Yeah.
Because it'll be the most exciting thing that you can do.
Mm-hmm. Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says either Joe Hendry or Oba to win the Battle Royal. Now, while Oba can't be in the Battle Royal unless he wins it, that's just straight up can't, because I don't want to watch him. People like, let's get 8 of us to eliminate him together. I don't want to watch that crap. So I hope he's not, unless he's going to win it. And if he's going to win it, then he's got to win the title from Trick Williams. I don't think they're ready to do that yet. So Oba's not in it. For whatever reason. Joe Hendry, sure.
Josh Alexander, probably. If
he's people saying he's not healthy. Luis says, of all people I can see appearing, my pick is Steve Maclin, with the goal of finally winning NXT Gold after being a forgotten son during this whole run there.
That's not a bad call.
That's not a bad idea, honestly. Like, that would be kind of cool, and it would be a fun match for them. And it's, I mean, I don't know, man. We'll have to see who they're gonna send as a sacrificial lamb to Trick Williams for Heatwave. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're running Ethan Page back. That's for sure. I think it would be a good opportunity to send in a Shinsuke, send in an Odyssey Jones. Like,
this would be a good one, honestly. He's a new guy in TNA, but
hell yeah!
Hammerstone versus Trick Williams could be a lot of fun.
When that guy was still in MLW, I was like, how has WWE not come calling for the second coming of Hogan if Hogan was good in the ring? It blows my mind.
It's like if Hogan and Lesnar had a baby, and it's just that out popped Hammerstone.
He's unreal. He is like,
Oh, he got injured recently. No, he got pulled from stuff.
Hammer did?
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Anyway,
I remember this now.
Talon Valley is saying the first 40 minutes should be Joe Hendry songs.
Not mad about it.
Mm-hmm. That'd be actually kind of cool.
He could write a really fun song about Trick. Like, he's
if we did, like, you know, every so often in a battle on a Royal Rumble, somebody will come out but never actually get in the ring. If he came out and then, like, set up his, like, guitar and his stool right by the entrance and sang a song about everybody who came in after him and finally, like, entered laugh. I mean,
that would be very fun.
Bad Apple says they should do the funniest thing and have Nick Nemeth win as a TNA crossover.
I think more likely Mustafa.
It would I hope it's not Mustafa. That man should never set foot back in that fucking company. But I can't wait to see the crazy verbal gymnastics that Vic Joseph does if it's Nick Nemeth. That's TNA superstar Nolf Zemeth.
By Elegance.
By Elegance. Luis says Joe Hendry does a remix of Whoop That Trick from Hustle and Flow for his match against Trick Williams. LOL. That could
it's very good. Like, it could be a really bad gimmick, but he has done such a good job of balancing an actually good song with a diss track feel to it. The AJ Francis one was incredible. The Matt Cardona one of being Edge's bitch was unbelievable. Like, he's good at it. He's really good at it.
I also don't want it to be Mustafa Ali because he's still riding his undefeated streak. If I'm not,
that's it. Yeah,
if I'm mistaken. So, Nolf by Elegance. So
did they use the date? Oh, it's perfect.
There you go. So then let's do the rest of this Cody crap. Oh, by the way, before he left, Trick called him back in, like, I gotta know you're coming to the cookout. And then Cody's like, looks around like, oh, I don't know. Am I even allowed to come to the cookout? I gotta ask my wife. Like, he was doing this weird thing with his eyes, like, oh my goodness, I've never been asked this before. Like, I mean, I'm hoping you've gone to several cookouts with your in-laws family.
I would think so.
I'm hoping, Cody. But he was like, I've never been asked this. Like, he did this weird reaction to it. And the crowd was like, yay, say yes, Cody. Solve racism again, Cody, please. He said yes, and they did the cool guy handshake, and that was fine. But then he goes backstage, and he's carrying out a paper bag, and he comes up to JC Jane, and he like reaches in and pulls out his old dashing mask, his undashing mask. And I'm like, from 2011. And he's like, just the person I've been wanting to see. Here you go. And I'm like, when have you ever in your life met this woman before? Because certainly it's never been on television. Why are you bequeathing your mask to somebody you have no connection to?
And it wasn't an injury mask. It wasn't like Sheamus's. It was, I was a dashing stan. I loved dashing Cody Rhodes and what they did with that. It was kind of at the beginning of me getting into wrestling. I totally connected with the 80s smarmy looking in the mirror guy. And I thought the downfall with the mask was super fun. Like, I remember that really vividly. But that was not my nose got injured mask, I don't think. Was it? Like,
I thought it started with him getting, like,
someone smashed his face and that's why he was wearing it, because he was unbearable to look at.
Yeah, something like that.
It wasn't like a Sheamus thing where he was like, I'm going to fight while I'm injured.
I thought it was a thing where, like, it was all kayfabe. You know what I mean? As opposed to JC Jane literally is wearing a mask because she got her nose broken. Like, JC Jane working I have to wear a mask. I got my nose broken, but also I'm hideous. Don't look at me. Thing would work for her, but I don't understand why it's got to be Cody's mask. And then later she comes out, spoiler alert, and she's just put his mask on over her own mask.
It was like retribution all over again.
It was like this far out from her face. She had a mask, a giant, really thick mask on over her own mask. And I don't know. There we go. That's right. It was. Yes. Now, Ray broke Cody's nose with a 619. It was just.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
It was.
That was actually a pretty cleverly done thing then. Sorry, it was a while ago for me to remember.
But then the other thing, where he's walking backstage and runs across Shawn Spears, and we'll talk more about what Shawn Spears is up to. He says, "Hey, it's good to see you. Yeah, I'm gonna win that battle royal, and then I'm gonna be champion or something." And then Ethan Page walks up, and he's like, "Hey, don't forget about."
And you didn't know Ethan Page was a heel already from everything that we've heard about him. The shirt that was like, I got 3 buttons above my belly button. Tells you everything you need to know about
Ethan Page walks out and goes, "Hey, don't forget about that. I'm in that match too. I'm gonna win." And then Brian Pillman Jr. walks up and is like, "Hey, no, I'm gonna do it because I'm a major star and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna be the champion." And then they all just stand there for a little bit, and then Cody goes, "You guys look like you're in a good place." And walks away.
To which I
I'm like,
say,
I mean,
what evidence supports that? If
I
they're
mean,
happy, awesome. But this was not the episode to pull that out. I was like,
so
are
yeah,
they? Because Lexis King is mostly eating pins other than tonight. Shawn
Yeah.
Spears abandoned a storyline where he was
Yeah.
building a stable entirely to beat a
Yeah.
rising star tonight. And Ethan Page, they didn't protect his finisher in his first match on the brand for the world
Yeah,
title.
I
And he
know.
lost
Matt-
basically clean to get attacked after the match. These guys aren't in a good place. I hope
Yeah.
I hope they're in a happy place.
Yeah.
But
Matt Logan says, "I loved seeing Cody with the AEW Outcasts." I mean, I guess you could call it that. And this is also true. Peyton saying they posted a pic of the four of them doing the Spider-Man meme point. And Peyton Carter saying this. They all did a photo shoot after this, and that's all WWE has posted on Twitter since. They're so proud of this moment. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Just
I'm fine.
stick it to
I'm
them.
fine with wrestling.
I mean, it's just. I mean, whatever.
Companies
It's
taking
like,
shots.
I mean, listen.
I just wouldn't take a victory lap on this episode.
Listen, it was it's Cody. Cody's obviously a huge success story moving from I think he could have been easily been this over there if he hadn't done the dumb "I'm never allowed to challenge for the top championship, so let me get the mid-card champion and then act like a heel but not actually be heel" thing. Like he could have been what this is over there had he not come back. They dropped the ball totally on Ethan Page, and I hope he becomes a giant success in WWE. Like Shawn Spears wasn't being used at all. And Brian Pillman Jr. has, to me, only proven all of his detractors about his work in AEW right since he's been here. So it's a weird flex to pull with these particular people because it's all very different. You know what I mean? Whatever.
That I agree with, for sure. Like I was happy they granted Shawn Spears his release because I think he has a lot of value to the wrestling industry and he wasn't being used in AEW. Brian Pillman Jr., I feel like, or Lexis King, outside of having a cool slidey chair, I just haven't seen what people see in him that says that he's a star. I don't find the creative direction for him in NXT particularly consistent or good either, but I don't feel like he's mostly just had his slidey chair and been skeezy to women. Like he they all got wins tonight, which felt intentional. But
well, sure. Oh, you had to have them all get wins tonight, except for Ethan Page, who's not allowed to win because he got his finisher kicked out of. Will Chisholm says they're going to run the same three guys with Cody, but the fifth man will be Ricky Starks, aka Cody's friends. Man, if they do an AEW invasion angle,
just no. I don't want to see that for them. Like Ethan Page is his own
I don't
star.
want no.
Ricky
Ethan
Starks
Page
is his own star.
completely separate of everything else. Please just make it just let him be how great he is. It was a bad start at Battleground. Heatwave is in Toronto, like he's from Hamilton, Ontario. Like they should have saved the one-on-one match for him and Trick at Heatwave.
So weird. It wasn't
and now he's
with no
almost
injured.
I mean, if just a regular NXT guy, especially a guy who just came off of losing to Trick, wins the Battle Royal to get like that would be a huge mistake. Hold on, let me see if I can find a thing.
It's they have made choices.
That would be one of these if they were to actually just book Ethan to win a Battle Royal when they've teased people from TNA being in it. It would just be weird to do that.
I honestly think it should be like Shinsuke. Genuinely.
It would be kind of cool. Anyway, so Sarah Schreiber interviewed Dante Chen backstage, who used the Singapore cane to smack the wall or something, and then he said he was going to teach him discipline. I don't know. They're not calling it a kendo stick match, even though that's what they canonically have called these weapons for 20 years. You know what I mean? Well, 15 years. They called them Singapore Canes in ECW to like capitalize on the weird phenomenon of that kid who went over there and did graffiti or something and then got caned. Like, and they haven't called them that since, but they're doing it because this guy is from Singapore. It always felt weird. But like he and Pillman hit each other with Singapore Canes a lot. There wasn't much else to this match at all. They hit each other hard. They each got some pretty big welts.
Yes.
And then it was just impossible to watch because Booker T was just slurping noises. It was just Booker T slurping noises, then going, "Oh yes, man." There was just that. I don't know why they've decided that the guy that he's not a heel commentator. He's not Nigel McGuinness. He's a bad commentator, but he also picks some faces and some heels to go after. You know what I mean? Like, but he's decided that the one he loves the most among all people is Lexis King for some reason. I call him a TV star. I mean, I don't know. Is that the biggest? I don't know. It's weird.
It's very weird. Vic Joseph was even like, "You've been hit with one of those. How does it feel?" And he's like, "Not fun, man." Like, it was just very weird. Very weird. Stop doing ethnic themed gimmick matches. They're all bad. The Shillelagh match ruled. And if you are of Viking heritage, the Viking ship thing was awesome. Neither of those should have been as good, but they were great.
You can just do it as an Extreme Rules match and then have the guy who is of that persuasion, if you want, he goes to a specific corner of under the ring and pulls out a weapon he's stashed there that matches his own thing. Naming the match after the specific ethnic weapon is weird to me. You know what I mean?
I'm looking to lose. Why is he losing this match when he just came back? You paired him with Robert Stone
because he just won 2 straight versus Lexis King, and they're pushing Lexis King. Then. They're pushing. I know, but they're pushing Lexis King. And the thing of it is Lexis King gets his scepter that he comes out with sometimes. He came out with it today because he was going to use it to like hit the guy in the balls and then win with that because it's a different kind of stick that actually has weight to it as opposed to a kendo stick, which does not.
I really like Dante Chen, genuinely. I think he moves super well in the ring. I think he has something very, I don't mean this in like he's so attractive way, but like attractive about him that makes you want to see him wrestle. And I feel like he comes across as very authentic. And I don't hate the idea of a Singapore Cane match. I hate the idea that there was no match around the Singapore Canes. Like there was not a lot of wrestling in this. It was just beating each other with sticks. And that's a bummer because I feel like I've even seen Lexis King do better work than this. And I've definitely seen Dante Chen do better work than this. I get the point of it. And it was supposed to feel like a very personal blow off. But it just feels weird to have Dante Chen lose the blow off when A, he's the one that's from Singapore, and B, he just came back to this feud. Like he was off screen for like a year and a half or whatever. So he came back, won the first 2, and then lost this. I'm like, why didn't you just have him go 1-1 and he wins this?
I mean, he did. He said, Dante Chen said, "This is it. Now we're gonna end the things for real now," which is weird. If you're like, I'm up 2-0, and if he beats me in this one, then the feud is over. Like, I don't know how that works, but apparently, I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna move on past it. So, Skate Beach, Luis is saying that he came up with it. I feel like I came up with it independently of Luis, but we'll split it.
It's very possible.
We'll do 65-35 you on the $1 million that we're going to sue WWE for when they start using Skate Beach in all their marketing. He scares Booker.
Those are going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, that's great. Scares Booker and Vic. Like just runs up and grabs Vic, and then Booker's like, "Where's security?" And Vic Joseph was like, "Don't even acknowledge it. We just got to move on." Like they don't even, and apparently he was like talking to people in the parking lot, but then like security asked him to leave. They're really trying to make us believe this is some kind of shoot.
They are trying very hard to do that. That is correct.
Sweet.
I
And
agree with
Sassy
that.
says, what is up with Brooks Jensen? I don't know. R.I.P. the Beach. He ain't that guy anymore. He's a different fella
him.
now. Meet Norma says, who grabbed Vic Joseph? He wasn't even in the parking lot. No, that was
the skate beach.
That was the skate beach.
I feel like he's as frustrated as we are, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Like he's frustrated for himself, and we have the same intensity, but just at booking.
I don't know. They showed again the Eddy Thorpe looking into a fire thing, where it was like, I have to do representation, which is why we're talking about Chief Jay Strongbow, who is very famously not at all Native American, fully Italian guy, just pretending to be Native American. Like, you can show the Briscoes because they had some Native American blood. You can absolutely show Chief Wahoo McDaniel, who was full Choctaw, I believe. But Chief Jay Strongbow was not. It's weird. You can say these are people who represented Native Americans in their characters before, but you're definitely not showing Tatanka. That's weird. But you're not. But why show Jay Strongbow? Whatever.
As famously not as Kofi Kingston was not Jamaican. You know what I mean?
Yes. So anyway, Eddy Thorpe defeated Tavion Heights, and after the breakout tournament that Obafemi won, if you had told me we would not see Tavion Heights again on WWE programming, on NXT, until now, however many months that is later, and when he is on TV, he's going to basically just be booked to lose straight up and with no frills at all to Eddy Thorpe in a return match, I would not have believed you, because Tavion Heights had, like, seemed to me to have everything you could possibly want in a guy, and they haven't used him at all. And apparently they have Eddy Thorpe have his first match back, beat this guy handily, but have that be the impetus for Tavion Heights getting more TV time? Because they do a thing with Charlie Dempsey saying, hey, that guy looked really good, but even though he lost, bring him to me. We're going to induct him into the North Quarter Catch Crew. And I'm like, that's fine, but it's a weird thing to, like, have him come off of just having to be beat up. You know?
They had kind of earned my trust on taking people off screen for months at a time, because it's paid off when people come back, most notably in the form of Obafemi. Yeah. Like, they took that guy off TV for a year, and every move that they made with him basically since has been perfect. So they kind of earned my trust with that a little bit. Bringing him back to get smooshed by Eddy Thorpe here was a little perplexing. But I like that the loss still mattered in a way, which they don't always do. So I'm appreciative of that. And I'm very happy to have Eddy Thorpe back. Like, he's very, very good. And
he's very good. And again,
offers like, something different than everybody else. And that makes me happy.
If you told me he's getting North American Championship in less than a month, I'd believe it. You know what I mean? Like, he's on a North American Championship match. He's not going to win the championship, obviously, because Obafemi's going to keep that forever. But yeah, that match should be really fun. He would sell like crazy for Obafemi stuff, and I think he's got enough fun offense that, like, Oba wouldn't, you know. But anyway, Javon Evans lost to Shawn Spears.
Really fun match with a dumb ending.
It was a really fun match. Really fun match, and then he jumped to the outside and caught all of the corner of the announce table in the sternum, which allowed him to then immediately be pinned via C4 from Shawn Spears. Patrick Moore says, my two favorite parts were the Sapp Javon match. I think you mean Shawn Spears, not Shawn Sapp, but that's a mistake you made as well.
No, that would be drop toe hold. Would be the ending of that.
And the Soul Ruka's package. Love your sour takes the most, though. Well, I'm not too sour about this, except for the fact that I feel like you don't want to beat Javon Evans here, but I'll be sour enough for everybody next segment. So, this was good, but I just thought, I don't know. I think Javon Evans probably wins a longer feud with Shawn Spears, and this is just part of the feud. But it didn't feel like to me that it was like Shawn Spears got away with cheating or something. He just beat him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is weird that this match happened. It's also weird that Shawn Spears was like, I have my eye on another person to add to my stable, and then was like, I'm gonna go beat Javon Evans.
Yeah.
For no reason. Very nice to see. I love Shawn Spears. Like, I was a big fan of him as Ty Dillinger. I wished that he had gotten more gusto in AEW because I think he's a really great wrestler. The collision of styles in this made the match for me. Like, there was a lot of hard hitting and cerebral work done by Shawn Spears, and Javon Evans is obviously just an unreal generational talent coming up. So very, very fun in what we got in ring. Very hard hitting. Like, this felt like they were out kicking the coverage of what they were like, this is the second to last real thing on the show, right? And it's a match that doesn't really have a story, and I don't know if it's going anywhere, but they went out there and like you can tell when people go all out on stuff, man. Like they really did. And I always appreciate that as a viewer when you can tell that they went out there and emptied the tank when there weren't really any stakes to this. Yeah. So I always appreciate that. I have no idea why Shawn Spears won. I'll give them another week or two to explain that to me in kayfabe. But why you smoosh one of your up and coming stars for someone that is, I thought, building a stable and mostly in like a coach and production role. Like, I really thought we were getting Shawn Spears and Ridge Holland versus the Chase U squad, and then very much not. So I just don't.
Yep.
You can have Javon Evans lose. I just don't know what productive came. What's productive that came out of this for either of them. Like, what does the Shawn Spears victory mean, and what does this Javon Evans loss mean? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Bargov says this is a full year with Fightful. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you so
Bargov. Much. And then Taylor Cannon says, it's been with Fightful for almost 3 years. And it's been wonderful. You both are big reasons why. Love y'all. We love Taylor Cannon.
I adore Taylor.
So
why is the chat like going on? I didn't say he's buried for that time. I just don't get it.
I
don't understand why.
No. There's it's weird. Stevie Turner's a snitch, I guess. She comes up to Ava and says, "Hey, Ava, I just want to let you know Roxanne's been saying that she's going to call you to the ring for an apology." And also Robert Stone is with a shirt that doesn't fit. Because like
he didn't look great today.
Yeah,
I don't mean to be mean, but this was like from like an ill-fitting shirt perspective today.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
A weird look.
He's now just straight up her assistant.
I guess. Yeah.
I don't know.
It felt like he was courting female talent to manage.
It did, but now not anymore. So Stevie is now, I guess, the informant who's gonna like report back to Ava with all the juicy dirt. I don't know.
Those dirt sheets.
So
she started as a podcaster, now she's worming her way in.
Roxanne comes out to deliver a State of the Union for the women's division, and like here's something. You know, they showed the whole opening of the show was highlights of the did you notice what they left out entirely?
The dumb non-distraction.
No, they used that. That was part of the thing. They actually showed the Tatum thing, Day Nash by Elegance. They showed all of that leading to Jordan Grace losing, but in a different women's match, they just straight up excised all of the crazy Shayna Baszler lost her mind, and that's why she lost.
Oh yeah.
And every time when they show highlights of the pay-per-view a couple of days later, and they just straight up change how the match ended, that's how you know that they sucked.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we can't defend this, so we're just going to retcon it out of existence. So the thing that you and I hated the most, Shayna Baszler losing her mind for no reason, and that's why she lost. They just said that never happened. So Roxanne,
they don't want us to remember that going into Scotland. Like, that's
maybe Roxanne comes out and says that she is obviously the best thing in the women's division. The women's division is the best in the world because I'm the champion of it. And then she calls out Ava to say thank you or something for, like, what am I saying thank you for? You had a great match. Good for you. And then JC Jane and Jasmine Nix come out and they say, like, how you say you're the leader of the women's division? Before you even got here, I was the star of the women's division. I was like, you were the third member of a 3-girl faction. Let's be honest, okay? Like, and one of them got fired, and the other one apparently is horribly injured, unfortunately for GD Dolan. And you're left, and now you have like a friend who's Jasmine Nix, and like they have not
been here for 5 seconds.
They could have and didn't. They could have put JC Jane on the level of perpetual almost challenger for the top title in the women's division, but did not do that once since she turned on JG Dolan. So the fact that now she gets to come out and be like, I have a superpower now, which is this mask I'm wearing that Cody gave me, and it allows me to tell you that I'm the top woman in this division, which is weird. And then Lash Legend comes out with Jakara Jackson, and they say that they're the best. And I'm like, you're a couple of mid-carders. Like, honestly.
When have any of these women had wins of any streak?
Yeah.
Like, where are the consistent wins in this division? And the answer is Lola Vice. Like, who comes out next?
Yeah. And then Lola Vice comes out. I'm like, okay, well, at least this makes sense. Lola Vice, but wait a minute. No, it doesn't. She's a heel, and so is Roxanne. I mean, you can do heel versus heel, but like, they're not good at booking that. So I don't want to see them try. So
were they the last two in the breakout tournament, or was that Kalani?
No, Roxanne. Were you talking about Roxanne and her? They were in complete. They were
a year apart, right?
Okay. Yeah, they were in different breakout tournaments. And it was Kalani versus Lola Vice. But Lola Vice, says I'm the baddest woman here, and I'm gonna do. And then they start fighting. And then, but she just say, how dare you even come out and talk to her? She's obviously on another level than all of you, a level that only I am also on. And then they do like a thing where they clear the ring and they stand together, like looking at each other while they've knocked everybody else out of the ring. I'm like, this was it? This is what you built to? Did you think Julia was in the building and then she just left? I don't understand why you do this segment last if this is what the segment is.
Outside of Jasmine Nix getting called a Kim Kardashian wannabe, which I thought was pretty good because she kind of looks like that. Mm-hmm. What stake do any of these women have to a challenge? And why is it all heels?
I don't know.
Why isn't Sol Ruka in this?
I don't know.
It was so confusing to me.
Look, you could easily sell me on Lola Vice coming after Kalani Jordan for the North American
Championship. Yeah, the history's right there. That's why
they have a history. They have history, and like it's a perfectly fine thing to do because it makes more sense than Mia Yim getting the first title shot at it. And then you can easily do Sol Ruka coming after Roxanne. Like sometimes the obvious thing is obvious because it's correct.
Yeah.
And those things are obvious and they're just going up completely against type. So
you could even just switch it. You could have Mia Yim coming after Roxanne because she's a face down here.
Yeah.
And you could have Lola Vice going after Kalani Jordan. Mm-hmm. I do think, again, I don't trust them to do it right. But I think you could do something really fun and special with Lola Vice as a heel and Roxanne as a heel because they're just very different. Like, Lola Vice is like, I'm going to knock you out with one punch. I've got an MMA background. Roxanne is the prodigy, more traditional wrestling base.
Yeah,
I will say Roxanne has settled into this character better than they have every right to do this. I wish she was a face because I think it's better, and I wish she was a face because I think she's going to get called up, and Raw desperately needs faces, as we were talking about. Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know. even if you were going to send a bunch of heels out there, like maybe Fallon Henley, like what? I'm so confused about this. But it just seems like Sol Ruka was the obvious choice. And with that vignette we got earlier, I was like,
yeah.
I just kept waiting for her to come out. I was like, where the hell is she? Why is someone who isn't medically cleared and someone who has been only in multi-women matches, I want to say, and one singles match, maybe, and Jasmine Nix coming out as a challenge?
Well, she's not. She's just like the second of JC Jane. She's just the person who's going to be in her corner. The same way Jakara Jackson's not challenging her. Lash Legend is. But it is a
right,
it is
but
a
isn't
weird.
JC not cleared?
Maybe now.
Now that she has Cody's mask, it's
Now that she has Cody's mask, now she's wearing two masks. Like nothing's gonna hurt her face if she gets hit in her face. She's wearing two masks now. She's wearing two masks that come out this far out of her face.
Remember when Retribution took off their masks and they had other masks under them?
Yeah.
That's what this is gonna be.
Yeah, Ava was talking on the phone to somebody, and I guess we're supposed to assume it was Julia. I don't know, but she was talking to some weird person. She was like, "Yeah, don't worry, I cleared it with Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, so it's totally fine that somebody from TNA is going to come to challenge Roxanne." Like sometimes she just has weird expositional phone calls, so maybe she's not talking to anybody. I don't know.
Yes. We want Twitter Ava.
They could have built up JC as a top heel, but they put her on Chase U, and her momentum completely stalled. Yes, that's true.
Why isn't Thea Hale coming out at the end of the segment?
Because only heels are allowed to come out to challenge the heel Kate, obviously. So, on to actually good stuff, Luis says. CMLL's Siuxis makes her AEW debut tomorrow against Mercedes. Says Luis.
Much better build to Forbidden Door than we've had in past years. I think they've found a rhythm with it. You've got 2 women's matches already, which is fantastic. I hope they give Athena one. You have a wedding between ZSJ and Orange Cassidy. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff shaping up for Forbidden Door. But I love that we're getting more promotions than New Japan and AEW.
Will Chisholm says, I think people and fans there are just ready for Julia to be named because they keep saying nobody in the world is on Roxanne's level. And then obviously she's the person who's on Roxanne's. I'm also there with you. You know what makes people think that it might be Julia even more? You building the whole night to this segment. And then people assuming there's going to be a big deal happening in that segment. But
I don't think they want to name her until they know she's going to be cleared. Yeah. Like if you don't name her, you leave the wiggle room of, I talked to the 2 GMs on the main roster. They can send down whoever.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to actually be smart about that.
Right. Paul Elizabeth sent in something. Hi, everything sucks except Team KLX, the Council of Sisters, Mr. Normus, Supermod Luis, the SGS, and of course JW Pringle. Matt Logan, thank you for your super chat. And then Mr. Bandana Head says, I can't change this condition of love, but I think I'd be better off without it. It's from Orson Welles. This quote at times sums up my love of wrestling.
Oh.
Thank you for the SGS.
Here's a little behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. Before we went on, Alex was like, this made me want to not watch wrestling, and we need to end NXT, and we need to end all of pro wrestling until they can sit in a corner and think about what they've done. Yeah. And I had the opposite reaction of watching NXT made me want to buy tickets to Capital Collision so that I could watch the other end of the spectrum of what this pro wrestling thing is.
I just think like what this is
it's what you like.
It's so deadly. I just don't want it to leak into anything else. They're doing crossovers now. You know what I mean? Like this, somebody could come here from TNA, get infected, take it back to TNA, and somebody who's there might leave TNA and go to AEW, and then they brought whatever this is, this disgusting plague, to AEW. The whole thing collapses. That AEW is going to do in Forbidden Door. Like then all of a sudden New Japan crumbles just because it's just this horrible plague of whatever this is. The HBK disease.
I think what we're safe with is the fact that Impact TNA has no problem killing off talent. So if like somebody comes down with something that's lethal, they'll just kill them off.
Will says, also, I saw the video of Io saying she's going to work Marigold, and that women's reaction made me tear up. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
All right, Cookout puns. Just Ricardo says, Picnic Nemeth. JW Pringle says, Michael Coleslaw.
Very good.
Bad Apple says, Shane's Potato Punch Salad. Louisville says, Picnic Nemeth, Cook Outsiders, Bam Bam Barbecue.
That was for you.
Electric Mayhem says, Carlito Salad.
Wait, I don't get that one.
I don't know. Is there a salad called Lido salad? Might be.
Maybe.
I don't know. Or maybe potato salad, Carlito salad, potato salad, maybe like that. Meet Norma says, Devon, get the picnic tables. Insert clever Tegan Knox pun says, Hibachi Knox. Tom LaValle says, orange casserole, formerly known as fire ant, which is the thing you gotta watch out for the fire ants in the Cookout. Chris Pereira says, shish kebab Backlund. Boom, there's your leader right there. We got to move on from that. Chris Pereira says, Tomatongs. That's really good too. These are some really good ones. Lieutenant Colonel Photo says, corn on the Coba Femi.
Corn on the Jeff Cobb's right there. That's the only thing.
Corn on the Jeff Cobb is right there. Yeah, it's true. Bridget Houlet says, Adam Coleslaw. I like the coleslaws ones.
Baby.
Insert clever Tegan Knox pun says, Tegan Scotch eggs. Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says, from Eric Masden, Bam Bam Barbecue. Thank you again for Bam Bam
Love
Barbecue.
Your Bam Bam Bigelow one.
I do. Chris Pereira says, Brisket Wilson.
I miss them. They're so funny.
This is a really good one too from Louisville. Nobody is ready for asada. Chris Pereira says that Hank Hill sells Procaine and Procaine accessories. But you know what? I am anti-Kane. I am anti-Kane.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. I'm anti-Kane. Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says bad apple pie.
Very nice. Lieutenant
Colonel Photo says Juicy Lucy Robinson. Juicy Lucy. Ian R says Bam Bam Barbecue. We got a lot of Bam Bam barbecues.
It's because they know you love the Bam Bam Bigelow puns.
True. Ian R says Potatoba Femi salad. Potatoba Femi salad. Luis Polito says Mark Brisket, reach for the sky, boy.
Aww. That one.
JW Pringle says Booker T-bone steak. A dry ass one at that. Yeah, it's just somebody shouldn't be turned up the heat too long, left it on there too long. It's just awful. Eon R says Blackstone Combat Club.
Very good.
Electric Mayhem says Grilla Monsoon. Sonia DeVilled Eggs.
Very nice.
Baked Beans Combat Club. And cheeseburger.
There you go. I love cheeseburger.
Chris Pereira says nobody is on the level of the deviled eggs.
Very nice.
Lieutenant Colonel Photo says this is from the wife of Lieutenant Colonel Photo.
Oh my gosh, they have such a scandalous story, if I recall correctly, which is so fun.
Burnt ends of days. Roasted marshmallow haze. The true American nightmare. Playing, is that fireworks or gunshots?
Oh, God.
That is American Nightmare.
It is.
Just Ricardo says Maxwell Jacob Fritter.
Very good.
Chris Pillell says the Grilla Dan Maloney. Maloney. Whatever. Maloney.
The J Grilla.
Jim Pringle says Austin Theory sold the Rock's golden deviled egg. Ian R says Fish Friday Night Smackdown.
Very nice.
Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says Bobby Fish invented the picnic.
It's true.
Meat Norma says Dalton Casserole. Pentel El Cerro Meats at Kate's Cookout.
Cerro Meats. For me, I would allow other people to bring meats. It's a cookout. My goodness.
It's just all Impossible Burgers.
I could never do that to other people. I would never rob
You
somebody else.
You just pass them off as regular. And these are all beef hot dogs, but they're all tofu.
I mean, Joey Chestnut's on the vegan train because somebody paid him $1.2 million to speak, but God bless him.
And then they were like, no, you can't come here if you like vegan food.
Which is insane because I'm like, I think he proved he could eat all the Nathan's hot dogs in the world, man.
No,
like, let him do the impossible ones.
No, you have to pay for it with your soul after you eat that many beef hot dogs. Eddie Kingsford Patna. Figure 4 pork chop. Street corn profits.
Very nice.
And Solo Cupsicoa.
Solo Cupsicoa was very funny.
Louisville. This is a great one from Louisville. Sweet Baby Rey Mysterio.
That is an excellent deep cut.
Tom LaValle says Walter Melon. And then writes Gunther Melon. No, it's Walter Melon. We got it. Ian R says AOP, the authors of propane. Chris Pereira says Jeff Corn on the Cob. There we go. We got it. Ian R says Tailgate Team 2000. So you got yours as well.
Thank you.
Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says Jeff Cobb Salad. Another Cobb. Fantastic.
A very good one.
Liv Smorgan.
The Revenge Tour. Liv Smorgan.
John Wick 1 GM says Claudio Casaroli and Boba Femi.
Claudio Casaroli's really good.
ENR says, what do we do at every picnic with sliced bread? Feed the duck Hudsons.
Very nice. Sliced bread, also a top favorite move of mine.
Apparently you're not supposed to feed bread to ducks. But it is funny that like people have been feeding bread to ducks for 100 years, and I haven't seen a lot of ducks just dying. So
no, and also like a duck Hudson, I feel like.
Yeah, Duck Hudson could eat it.
He can, yeah.
It's not like who's the guy who loves the bread? Kojima.
Yes, Kojima.
Oh, it's Kojima. I didn't want to like say it was the wrong guy. There's a lot.
You respect the heritage. I get it.
Yeah.
He's pretty in love with bread.
Yeah. Greg Cherry says Sonia Deville eggs, Trick Grilly, Napkin Shasa. Napkin Shasa is really good.
That's really good.
Rhino's got a new finish. I don't know if you know, but it's s'more. Ketchup and Muscle Buster. Got a major announcement on my show tomorrow. So tune into Greg Cherry's show tomorrow. Sorry for missing a few weeks. Love yins. We yins love yous. Ian R says Snack Saber Jr. And,
SSJ, as they call him.
And Jess Ricardo says Adam Charcoal Bebe Rays.
Very nice.
Very good. This is very good from Bad Apple Jam. Says I'm gonna start manifesting the idea of Kate becoming the manager to a tag team of Tiffany and Maxine, and they could be called the Mega Blondes.
I don't hate it. I'd have some work to do, but I don't hate it. I'll tell you what. First move in there, Maxine is turning on Chad Gable. Boom.
Boom. Done. All right, we got a lot of jukeboxes. Nothing else coming in. I don't want to see a single person send in another jukebox. We got lots of them to get through tonight. Okay.
Do I have any?
Hold on. Probably not.
Say no.
No.
Okay, good. Nobody send them because I don't want to open the document and screw up my internet.
Okay. Hold on. This is Bad Apple Jam. Macaulay called him that on CMLL TV. Soy Sauce Boy ZSJ.
He said soy boy. Like I am in Spanish, but soy boy.
That's crazy. Where's my whole, all of my thing just collapsed. Can you see me still?
You're frozen. I just assumed it was my internet because obviously.
I do not have access to anything. My thing just completely collapsed. Can I start a new one? Yeah. New window. Can I open a new window? I cannot open a new window.
Do you want to try leaving and coming back? Oh, I'm going to take that as a yes. So there you go. I'm going to take away this little background for a second. And we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. How about that? Is anybody in the chat going to Capital Collision? I want to go so bad. Luis is having a nutty. Oh no. So what do you guys want to talk about? We can talk about Shane Hayes being a tag champ. And Mikey Nichols. Underrated. I'm so happy for them. Sincerely. Them winning both tag titles rules too. So that makes me happy. The TMDK agenda. I like that that's immediately what you guys default to.
No idea what the hell happened.
I don't know either, but we're glad to have you back. The chat immediately, I was like, what do you guys want to talk about? And they were like, TMDK. And I was like, I'm here.
My Google Chrome just completely shut down.
It happens.
I don't know what that was. But now I got to go find the document again. That was weird.
You're here and you made it. Well, we'll do the best we can. We're already over on time, so
I know it's fine. There are some genuinely very good jukeboxes that I would like to honor, and because people send in money, and so that's what we should do. Okay, so let's just make sure this doesn't. All right, here we go. All right, Bad Apple Jam Tree Beard says Gallus to sing The Spark by Rhyme Island, aka that Scottish elementary school kids viral song. I do not know what that is, but let's do it.
Nor do I.
Think you can stop what we do? I doubt it. We got the energy, we'll tell you all about it. I searched for my spark and I found it. Everybody in the crowd started bouncing. Think you can stop what we do? I doubt it. Think you got the artillery, I'll tell you all about it. I just had my spark and I found it. Everybody in the crowd started bouncing. Making bangers at a young age, buggos. My pen sitting fire to the page for you. I can show you how to rock that stage. Listen to this in the car, you'll be getting road rage. Listen up, because we do what we do every day is decent. Cabin crew non-stop on top of every playlist. If we see a dream, you know we're going to chase it. So get over any fear you have, just face it. There you go, that's it. That's all we're getting into that.
This is beautiful.
Thank you. All right, here we go. We got Regal from Bad Apple Jam Treebeard to do I'm Afraid of Americans by David Bowie. But he says spoken word version of it, and that's just Regal.
Johnny's in America. Low techs at the wheel. No one needs anyone. They don't even pretend. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it, man in the mask. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. Johnny's in America. Johnny wants a brain. Johnny wants to suck on a coke. Johnny wants a woman. Johnny wants to think of a joke. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. He's also, I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it, man in the mask. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Scrummy, scrummy, scrummy. Remember that? That was a long time ago. Finally, we before we get into the last big ones here, Louisville wants Braun to sing Peaches by the presidents of the United States of America.
Millions of peaches. Peaches.
Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, gonna eat me a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, gonna eat me a lot of peaches. Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Peaches come from a can. They were put there by a man in a factory downtown. If I had my little way, I'd eat peaches every day. Sun-soaking bulges in the shade. Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Get these cans of peaches.
That is one of my favorites that you do.
Bad Apple Jam Treebeard wants Braun Strowman to sing Jambalaya on the Bayou by Hank Williams. All right. I'm not familiar with this one, so I don't know if I can actually sing it. It's going to be spoken word again. Here we go.
Goodbye, Joe. Me gotta go. Me oh my oh. Me gotta go pull the pirogue down on the bayou. My Yvonne, the sweetest one. Me oh my oh, son of a gun. We're gonna have a big fun on the bayou. Jambalaya and a crawfish pie and a filet gumbo. Cause tonight I'm gonna see my share Mio. Pick guitar, fill fruit jar, and be gayo. Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou. Get these Hanks Williams.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and break them up a little bit. We got 4 Dusties. So
4 Dusties.
4 Dusties and a Ricky. So let's
the passing of his the anniversary of his passing. So
it
make
is
sure you guys
true.
to send them in.
All right, here we go. Make sure. Here we got it. We're good. Okay, here we go. Boom. It's me. You know, honestly, you know, they down there, you know, in the where they live and they do birthdays.
Sure.
Up here, they do death days.
Oh.
So we had a big death day surprise party for me, which is, you know, it's wonderful. It was me, and I come into my apartment and it's all dark in there, and then all of a sudden everybody else, surprise, and Macho Man Randy Savage jumps out from behind a couch. It's the best. It was nice. Everybody, they were there. They had sheet cake, and that was nice as well. And we had ice cream sandwiches. It was wonderful. It was one of the best things ever. Yes, nice.
I'm so happy for you that they celebrated the day of your arrival.
Yes, that's true. That's how we do it up here. All right, hold on right here. Tom the Valley wants the Ghosty to sing Common Man Boogie, which of course was my theme song, I believe.
You believe?
It's true. It is my theme song. I'm gonna change it around because that's me singing. I'm just a common man, working hard with my hands. I'm just a common man, working hard for the man. I'm a American dream. I'm a American dream. If you're black or white, redneck funky, that's all right. Blue eyes with a lot of soul. Common man has got his goal. He's a American dream. That's my song right there.
That's
beautiful.
My
song. I don't got no deaf rebel up here. They're not allowed. Come up here giving new songs to people. Everybody's got their own songs.
They should not be writing for anybody in Wrestler Heaven.
They should not at all. So here we go. Bad Apple Jam Treebeard says the roast of Gusty Dodes to sing the Oogie Boogie song from Nightmare Before Christmas. Well, what have we here? Santa Claus, huh? Oh, I'm really scared. So you're the one everybody's talking about. Ha ha! You're joking. I can't believe my eyes. You're joking me. You gotta be, Daddy. This can't be the right guy. He's ancient. He's ugly. I don't know which is worse. I might just split a seam now if I don't die laughing first. When Mr. Oogie Boogie says there's trouble close at hand, you better pay attention now, baby, because I'm the boogeyman. And if you want a shaking, then there's something very wrong, because it might be the last time now that you hear the boogie song, if you will.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, hold on. I'm being called in the other room. We're still having the party, so I'll be right back, though.
Okay.
Hello?
Ricky! Your timing is impeccable, as always.
Fantastic. Bad Apple Jam Treebeard wants me to sing the new Chris Jericho Learning Tree theme, which is a song by Fozzy called Spotlight. So
There's a crucial edit on the front of it, though.
I am the learning tree. I'm the light of the truth, the one who sees right through. I know your every move. I got my eye on you, Spotlight. I know you've got a secret. It's buried down below, deep within the basement. Let it go, let it go. I know you've got your issues, a homicidal mind. Silence cannot save you. I'm bringing you to light. Because every lie you tell, I know. Everywhere you go, I go. It's written on your face, even though every thought you have betrays you. Now, now, now. I'm the light of the truth, the one who sees right through. I know your every move. I've got my eye on you. Go on and bury it down. I'll follow you till it's out. I got my eye on you. I got my eye on you. Thank you.
We love you, Ricky.
Oh, this is where I leave you, but maybe I'll come back in a second. But someone else has got to sing 2 more songs.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm back.
That's okay.
They just wanted to know where there was more napkins. So anyway, T-Electric Mayhem says you can thank John Silver for wearing a shirt on BDO a few weeks back. They reminded me of this one. The Ghost of Dusty is sing Scatman by Scatman John. This is an oldie but a goodie.
That is an oldie but a goodie.
Skibbity doo 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 boop. You doo doo boop. Skibbity doo boop boop. Doo boop boop. I'm a scat man. Skibbity doo boop boop. Boop boop boop. Skibbity doo boop boop boop. Boop boop boop. Bob beep beep boop boop. Skibbity boop skibbity boop 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 boop. Skibbity boop 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 boop. Skibbity boop boop boop. Skibbity boop boop. Everybody stutters one way or the other, so check out my message to you. As a matter of fact, I don't hold you back. The Scatman can do it, so can you. That's it. I'm not gonna skibbity bo bo no more.
Scatman kind of. I'm a Scatman. Whoa, I'm a Scatman. I think there's a remix opportunity in there.
Yeah, it could be for you talking about for Mr. Ass.
Yes.
I understand. Man, have you ever heard Billy Gunn scat?
I can't say I have, no.
Neither have I. I'm assuming it would be terrible. So here we go. Last one. This is a request that comes in from Louisville, who wants Dusty Rhodes to sing The Climb by Miley Cyrus. I can almost see it. That dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My face is shaking. But I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle, baby. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there, daddy. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb, baby, if you will. That's it.
That was beautiful, very heartfelt.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you very
impassioned
much.
performance.
Thank you very much. I mean, I could do the whole song, but we're over time as it is, I'm assuming. So
yeah.
And I gotta go back to a party, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave. But anyway,
But we don't want to keep you from that.
That's right. So I'm going back to the great beyond, but I'll see you next time.
All right,
bye. Hello.
Hi, Ricky.
It's me. I've come back just to say the one last thing, which is the thing that we say when we leave, which is keep cool, gabagoos.
Toodles.